Hey there, my name's Tort. Today's episode's gonna be a little more on the chill side, but there's still a lot to build, so let me get to explaining. I don't have much time to film this episode for reasons. That means it's the perfect time to prepare ourselves for some future upgrades. I've got this dirt storage building right next to me, but no home for some of the other basic blocks in the game. If I want to get into using some of the more hard to get resources, then I'm gonna need to take care of the easy ones first. I've got a small list of buildings I need to get done today. Let's start with wood. Alright, now I've done a quick outline of the shape of this place. There are currently 11 wood types in the game, so we need to have quite a bit of storage space. That's what this bean-shaped mud brick area is going to be. And then we have this brick here, which is going to be the base of a tower, just to add some visual interest with height. And then I have this wooden area, which is where I'm thinking of adding some details hinting at wood getting processed, like a sawmill and maybe some tables over here to do some carpentry, things like that. Let me get to adding some walls so we have a better idea of how this place will look. Okay, we got something going on here. This white terracotta wall is really flat. I'm trying to think of blocks to mix in with it. Maybe I can get enough mushroom stems for it. I don't know. But for now, we're just trying to get a shape down. We have a few themes going on in this world, and all of them relate to nature. We have the more modern stuff that's run down over time. And then we have the more monstrous stuff, although this isn't really the final form of that. I plan on expanding on that theme later. And then we have the very nature-heavy stuff, which is so far only this building. So I want to continue this theme and not carbon copy this exact style, but stay within the realm of grass rooftops, wooden materials, things like that. And one of the key features I want to keep is circular geometry, which is why we've got this circular tower, although it's kind of square because the game. But then we've got this very circular outer bit here, and then the square part of the building can be some sort of add-on. Not everything has to be perfectly circular, but with that all in mind, let's figure out these roofs. It's looking all right. I think this tower's too tall, though. Let me lower it real quick. There we go. Now, before I add anything else, I need to consider the placement of my windows. So let me just pop some holes in the wall. And I know I want to fill these windows with oak trapdoors. Not sure what I'm going to do with the other walls yet, but we'll figure that out later. Before we get into detailing, I need to figure out the functionality of this place. Now, I'm thinking of having a split level building where this half is on ground level and then this drops down into a subterranean layer. For one thing, it just looks cool, and for another thing, it's practical because I need to fit a lot of chests in here. I want to use this tower as the staircase within the building, so I'm going to put a doorway right here. It looks like that actually works out perfectly because the floor level will be here and we can have a door here, walk down the staircase, and you're down here. Now, let me use these stairs, I guess, to mark out chests. Which gives us 12 spots to store wood, meaning we'll have 1 spot for expansion. Okay, with that all in mind, I can finally get to detailing, which is a thing I don't typically do. But since we're mostly building smaller today, I can finally start to dive into it. Before I do that, though, let me clean up all these walls so they look decent. Hey there. I may have done more than just the walls. I also added floors and ceilings everywhere. Look, we got oak floors here and the loom bottoms on the roof. I really like how that looks with the birch outline. Got a stone divider here with the warped fences. Warped staircase all the way up the tower. Got to look out of the window. And then this area is podzol and rooted dirt, which I'm probably going to carry out of the door. Cleaned up the roof here as well. Looks very nice. We have this awkward little corner, but I think I cleaned that up. This just means I can start decorating the interior sooner. So let's head on down to the bottom floor and start by adding our indicators. The floor ones are pretty difficult to see, but I'm not too worried about that. And I'm missing an acacia log. Oh well. Alright, time for the rest of the room. I'm gonna add stairs under all of these just to create a better transition. And from here, who knows what I do. Maybe I jut out the walls like this. And instead of it being perfectly flat like that, whoa, I can make one of these a stair. And I can hang lanterns from the others. Maybe add some warped buttons. And I can add a planter in this corner with spruce trapdoors. Actually, I'm going to take away this button and bring in some mud. Add some more spruce trapdoors up top. And hang a lantern from there. I just grabbed some flowers. There we go. Now, can I add anything up top? See, my problem is we've got the windows, so I don't want to block those. But the chests definitely need something around them. I could pop the wall out like this. But what do I do from there? I've got an idea. Like, maybe it could be good? It needs something on that block. I have an idea. Okay, you know, genuinely, I don't think it's that bad. Okay, but think about it. We add lines to the signs. The signs are growing on me. All right, now we can add a bit of a carpet to the ground. And what else? I need a door. One final touch, I swear. Now, our roof is really neat and tidy, but there is still grass on top of it. So what if we had some roots peeking out? Yup, I think that finishes it. Let's get the rest done, shall we? First building complete, I think. Few things not shown in the time lapse. I added some lanterns up there. I hope the roof is spawn proof now. Got some petals on the rooted dirt along the outside, adds a little color. I also added a few more details inside, got some chains hanging, and I also got this painting on the wall. I've also moved all of the wood I own inside here. And as you can see, I don't have that much. But one day I'll just be able to grind getting a bunch of wood, and these should all be pretty full, and then I'll never have to worry about it again, until I run out. I like this build a lot. There's some elements to it that I've taken from other things that aren't in this series, like this tower. If you know, you know. But everything else is unique. I really like this roof. I haven't used cobblestone much in this world just because it's cobblestone, but I think it fits really well here, especially with the mossy. And having the double angle to it was not too much of a challenge, honestly. Anyways, now that we've got a place to store all our wood, it's time for the next thing, which is redstone jump scare. Nothing? Really? Anyways, we are back here in the mouth of the dragon in order to tackle the problem that I said I would address. I want a 3x3 redstone door here, and this is a no tutorial world. Now, I will be the first to admit that that would probably be impossible to do unless I had some kind of help. And this is my world, so I get to break the rules if I want to. I'm not going to follow a full tutorial step by step, but what I am going to do is allow myself to look at tutorials for circuit components. I'm taking it with the same approach as if I was to learn real circuits. I would try to learn how, let's say, a capacitor works, but I wouldn't build the capacitor myself off the dome every time. I would just buy the part, right? So let's just think of this as that. Every other part of this door is going to be off the dome. If you don't know, the main problem with a 3x3 redstone door isn't most of the door. All of these blocks are very easy to get rid of. You just have 3 pistons down here, 3 up here, 2 on the sides. Bam, all the blocks are gone. The problem is this block right here. How do you get that out? And the solution is the component that I'm going to be taking from someone else today. It's a double piston extender. Now, the video I'm getting this design from is by iMineCrazy. I don't know if they're the original creator of this design, but it's the one I found, so I'm running with it. It's very, very simple. We have our repeater down here going into our piston, and then the 2 pistons stacked on top of each other with an observer next to it, and that observer has a block on top. That's the whole thing. So when we power this, the block gets pushed up, and we power it again, it gets pulled down. Cool. Now, how this thing works, let's figure that out. I'm going to let VoiceOver Tort take over this one. So, when we step on the pressure plate, we activate that repeater, which fires the bottom piston. The observer sees this and sends power to the block above it, which then fires the top piston and leaves our block all the way up top. Now, the reason it left that block is because our pulse from the observer is less than 3 game ticks. A very oversimplified explanation is that it's acting too fast to grab the block and pull it back down. Next, we get off the pressure plate, which now retracts that bottom piston, and then the second, which right now doesn't matter, but it will on the block return. And speaking of the block return, that's all done with the same circuit. So we just step back on the pressure plate and extend the top piston all the way up to the block. which this time pulls it down because it doesn't have to worry about pushing it up in the first place. Then, as you can see, that second piston firing becomes relevant as we return the block all the way back to its original position. And that's the entire cycle. Time to implement it. Let's get on in here. Ah! We're good. This double piston extender is the first thing I want to figure out because I think it's going to be a little more complicated. So let me just remove the other door blocks for now. I'm also going to remove this floor just to make it easier to look at. So we have a block there and a block there. See, this is the problem is we have another block in the way now. So we're going to have to add that. Okay, checking back in, I've done some maneuvering here, and I think I've figured out the entire process that needs to occur. Problem is I'm inputting it manually right now. So currently this piston is powered, and we remove that power, it pulls it down. We then come over here to a piston on the side where we retract that, and now this block is out of the way. From there, the double piston extender just works as it should, and the door is open. And then the closing sequence would happen in a reverse order, where we fired the double piston extender, we power this block, and we power this block. And now we're closed again. A couple concerns I have. Number one, we are currently storing this block where I plan on having another piston retracting a block here. Right, there's going to be a block right here that needs to get pulled away. I guess I could pull it from the side and put it there. So that shouldn't be a problem. My other concern is how I'm actually going to power this block, because right now I'm doing it with a redstone torch right here. I wonder if I power this block, if that would work. Let's see. Because we're going to have this block just sitting here as a floor block anyways. No, that doesn't work. So we're gonna have to figure something out there. Actually, maybe it's just that it needs to be moved down a block. Let's see. Yeah, that only extends that one. So we have to power it with something like that. I'm gonna keep working on this and get back to you when I figure something out. Okay, I think I've solved our problem. I think one thing I didn't emphasize enough was the order of operation. The order of our opening functions are opposite of the order of our closing functions. So I need some kind of system, which is this, to process our input into 3 different outputs that happen 1, 2, 3, and then 3, 2, 1. And that's what this does. These 2 comparators are just a pulse extender, so you can see when I touch the pressure plate and get off, it slowly fades. And then we have this. So this lighting up causes this torch to turn off, then this torch to turn off, then this torch to turn off, and we bring a redstone signal all the way over here. So now everything is lit up. So when I step off of this, these blocks will still be active, and those won't turn off until both of these signals are gone. And the order that happens in is this one, then this one, then this one. If we need to, I don't think we will that much. We can mess with the timings of these things happening, both for turning on and turning off with these repeaters. And that should be the whole system functional as soon as I connect these 3 lines up to the correct spaces here. So everything's hooked up. As long as these signals aren't too long and it dies, it should work. I'm going to move our input back up to the proper spot and we can test this. All right, somehow I got the signal all the way up here. Let's see if this works. Moment of truth. This bottom piston kept locking up, but I found a solution. I didn't say it was a good one though. This is a little jank, to say the least. That's okay though, it works, and jank is funny, so I'm keeping it. It is good. Now I just need to add all the other pistons and make them work at the right time. Well, if you weren't satisfied with how jank it was before, you're gonna be really happy now. I did get all of it to work. Look at that. Oh, it was scaring me. The problem being, if I run over the middle and wait for this block, and then hit this pressure plate, the gap between it is enough that it completely breaks the machine. How long has this segment been already? Like 7 minutes? I don't need to keep going. It's fine. I'll just remember to either jump over or go from the side. But it is technically a working 3x3 door. The wiring is a mess down there, and I don't know if I'll be able to decipher it in the future. Maybe we'll clean it up. I don't know. Let's get back to something I'm a little more familiar with. I ran out of spruce, so now's probably a good time to talk about my game plan here. Right now, this building looks pretty bland, but it's just because I'm getting the base blocks in. We'll add some texturing on the spruce, adding in a grass roof is going to do a lot. And then I want to use acacia wood, I think, for accents. On our original dirt building, we used mangrove, this red, and here we use this blue warped. So I want to keep mixing it up with what we actually use for that accent piece. And for this one, it's probably going to be acacia. Now, this is very obviously the biggest building out of any of them that I'm making. That's because we need to store 13 different types of stone, and that's accounting for tough bricks coming in the next update. I'm probably missing some things, but oh well. And a lot of them we need pretty big bulk for, like stone or cobble or deep slate, anything I'm going to be collecting a lot of. So we've got plenty of room to do that. We've got 2 wings here that are going to have shorter roofs. And then we've got the main central area. I might put some kind of centerpiece here, like a big pit or something. I don't know. And then this top... Whoa, hey there. And then this top ring is just a way to add some variation to the whole building, add some depth in the center ring. Otherwise, it would look kind of weird. That's also going to have a grass roof on top of it. So, yeah, pretty simple build overall. Now that I have some more spruce, let me get this exterior done. It is crazy to me the difference it made adding all these details. There's a lot I added that I didn't show in the time lapses. A lot of the foliage, like the leaves and the roots and the glow lichen, as well as the lanterns up top for lighting. It's all spawn proof on the roof right now, so that's good. But it ended up becoming pretty much exactly what I envisioned. The terrain formed like this naturally, and I really like this drop off that we ended up creating. I want to expand back here in the future. This whole area is basically going to turn into a storage village. So we got a lot more things to build here. And there are obviously some pretty natural paths forming just based on these buildings. With the exterior done, we can finally tackle the challenge of figuring out this. Now, as I said earlier, I need to store 13 different things. 4 of the items I'm going to store a lot more of, which is stone, cobble, deep slate, and cobbled deep slate. So I'll probably have those in this main room somewhere, somehow. And then the other 9 I can have off in these alcoves here. It's an odd number that I have to split up, so I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that. But it won't be too bad, and there's constantly blocks being added to this game, so having the room for expansion is never a problem. The shader pack is so cool. Look at that light beam. You know? This is the centerpiece as is in a way, but it kind of makes me want to put something in the middle here. We also have a lot of floor space to fill up anyway, so we'll do something. We're dragging on a bit though, so I think I'm going to time-lapse this interior and get back to you when it's complete. I don't think it's complete. I'm not entirely happy with how this came out, and there's a lot of detail still missing. A lot of blank walls I want to figure out. But I'm kind of running out of time. There was an entire 3rd building that I hinted at in the intro that I wanted to do, which was going to be a greenhouse, but I can't really do that right now. I may or may not have a flight in a few hours, so I'm going to have to call this one early. I think sitting on this interior for a while will be good anyway. I do like the idea of the diamonds in the middle, with the sun shining down on them. I don't know, that just makes sense. And it's a cool way to show off my stone diamond ore, which is kind of rare now. But yeah, these rooms are really, really bland, and I don't like that. But the outside looks cool. Don't forget that. Look at that building. So good. I'm gonna do some finishing touches to the rest of this area so you can get an idea of what it'll be in the future. I'll see you on the other side. You know, for the amount of time I had, I'm really happy with this place. I think we've set ourselves up very nicely, not only in materials, but also just an atmosphere here. I'm really excited to keep building in this theme and pushing my detailing. That's one of the main goals I had with this place, was focusing more on getting details in. My other builds really, I don't know. I didn't push it as far as I did here, and I'm just really happy. Of course, there was one more building, a plant storage building, a greenhouse that I was going to build and didn't get around to. I'm sorry. But here's how I'll make it up to you, alright? Once I get back, I'll build the place and I'll upload it as a YouTube short. and it'll be there for you to see. So hey, if you want to see that, make sure you stick around by subscribing and maybe liking and doing the other things too. Promising that short isn't the only way I'm making things up to you. I've got very exciting news. I fixed the door. Kind of. Now it'll stay open until I run against the pressure plates again. It was a really simple fix, actually. All I did was change out our pulse extender that was here with this thing. I forget what it's called. But it just turns a pulse signal into a constant signal, right? This piston moves over, block powers the line. Boom, this is constantly on. So now we don't have to worry about breaking it. It's break-proof. Look, the thing that would happen before doesn't happen. It still scares me, but it works. I don't know if it actually comes across this way, but if this episode felt a little slower paced or a little less edited, just know I don't plan on that being a consistent thing. I'm still going to be a little busy for a while, but we're getting very, very close to a lot of free time, which is all going to be put here. Very excited for things to come. I'm going to go get in an airplane. Bye. Bye.